I went to the hospital with my wife. Jammer was born in like 15 minutes. He was in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And then right after he was born, it was like, all right, babe, I got to go back to work. And my son is 30 minutes old and I got to go back to work.
All right.
Do the dumb thing.
We're going to do the dumb thing. Here we are.
Shabba.
Episode 11, the Entertain Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Thomas. And with me today, we've got the other half of one of my longest friendships ever. United States Air Force, Charles Richardson. A very long way from Airman Richardson. What's your official rank today, present day?
Today, I am Master Sergeant. I like that intro. I'm honored.
Woo! Master Sergeant. Okay, Master Sergeant Richardson. And you're currently in what part of the world, if you feel like
I am currently all the way in Misawa, Japan.
Yes.
Misawa is not a common city in Japan. It is in the northern part of the main island.
Northern part of the main island. I love it.
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. I can attest to this because I have been there.
Facts.
This was the very first time I ever traveled outside of the United States, and the sole purpose of travel was to see Chuck B.
Yo, I was looking at old pictures the other day, man. Your hair was nuts. It was kind of gross.
I know it. Hey, but it worked for that celebrity factor out there.
Michael Jackson.
The timing of it being just a couple weeks after Michael Jackson passed away, and my hair in Japan especially very much resembled a Michael Jackson-esque hairstyle. So that was my first international trip, actually. It was to go to see you. We've been friends since, I don't know what, like 95, 96, 1990 something.
If you want to get technical, I would say that we probably met in 95.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that we became close in like 97, 98.
Right. Okay. That sounds about right. And we met obviously through sports. I mean, we played baseball, basketball, football, went to school together. We made horrible beats on Fruity Loops.
Oh, man. If I could find those. If I could find those somewhere.
You still got MySpace?
Yeah. No. So that's where I was looking at the old pictures was MySpace. And that music won't play. I don't know why.
Really? Okay.
Nah, it won't play.
Yeah, that's from like Web 1.0.
Yeah.
So we've been friends for ages. That was my first trip internationally, was to Japan to see you, because you went from high school straight into the military, straight into the United States Air Force.
Yep.
Although, actually, let's back that up for a second. You were set to go into the Army, just like both of our parents were.
Ooh, yes.
In the Army. And everything was signed, sealed, delivered, ready to roll into the United States Army. And then what happens?
So I was supposed to go to basic training in between my junior and senior year. And a week before I was supposed to go to basic training, we had spring football camp. And, man, somebody speared me in the backfield. I went to get a handoff as a running back. I got speared. It knocked the wind out of me, and the wind did not come back. Long story short, my spleen ruptured into 6 pieces, and I was discharged from the Army before I even joined.
What a failure. What an absolute failure.
Blessing in disguise, though.
For sure. I remember that. I still, to this day. So that was the thing. Ruptured spleen, although I feel like a rupture is a very gentle way of putting what happened to your spleen, because I still remember at the hospital when the surgeon explained what happened to your spleen, and it was like an explosion. It was
6 pieces, man.
6 different pieces of spleen.
A rupture is like a slight tear.
It's like, a pimple pop. Like, dang, you got a hole and some juices came out and everything. But this was a full on.
Yeah.
This was like Mount St. Helens. So
doctor told me I wouldn't play sports again. I almost bled to death. Yeah, it was nasty.
Exactly. Yeah, because you didn't even go to the hospital right near the game. Y'all drove all the way way back home. You were just having pains, kind of trying to tough it out. Being one of the toughest dudes that I knew, especially in football. And then eventually it was like, we got to get this dude we got to get him to the ER. And thankfully they did, because your ass would have died. So then Army is out. So then you go straight from high school into the United States Air Force. And your first station, permanent station, Misawa, Japan.
All the way back in 2007.
Whew.
So my goodness.
That was, I remember when you got the orders. I remember when me, you, and Greg, when we were hanging out in the garage and we were talking about you guys' basic and all these things. I remember all these different levels of the process and everything.
Yeah.
But I never really processed what it would be like to do what we've successfully done over the years, but made a vow at that time that wherever you got stationed, I would come visit every single station you were at, no matter where it was in the world.
The only person other than my mother and my sister. So, man, it speaks volumes to our friendship, man.
For sure. Yeah. And yeah, I still remember that trip. Honestly, that trip to Japan not only ignited obviously more in our friendship, but for myself on an individual level, it hit so many things that would later on become major parts of my life, from language, where I got stuck in the airport in Tokyo overnight. Couldn't speak any ounce of Japanese. I didn't even know I needed a passport until just a couple weeks before. I was clueless on travel.
We were children.
For sure. And then got stuck at the airport. First real experience learning another language and actually interacting, in a way, in a situation where the setting was a forced setting. It wasn't like, oh, hey, so-and-so around here speaks another language, let's do it, and you can get by. It was, no, genuinely, you are in a different land and everything here is different, but also works either as good or better. They're just very different, right?
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, because you joined the Air Force, a lot of my current passions in life are alive because of that. This is how we're all connected, I swear.
Wow. I like you looking things, man. Super deep.
It's deep, but it's true. It's true. Even when I talk about my love for the military, I never joined the military, but damn near every single one of our friends growing up, damn near every one of them joined straight from high school, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I never joined, and I still to this day would not have the life that I have and the experiences that I've had without the United States military. Not only because of obvious reasons, the old, keeping our freedoms free and all this stuff.
Right.
But genuinely, all the cliche stuff. But genuinely, both my parents being in the military kind of saved them from really different, rough lives that they had, single mother upbringing, rough this, rough that. And the military provided a lot of stuff, a lot of benefits, like part of my education, with parents in the military and VA benefits there. You yourself, straight into the Air Force. A lot of people do this, but they don't pursue education after that. But you're different.
No, I would not say that I'm different. I think you hit the nail right on the head that a lot of people say they join the military because of the education benefits and then don't go to school. And I was absolutely that guy. I have 2 associate's degrees and I'm well over halfway through my bachelor's degree. I didn't start until 10 years later, bro. I got my associate's. It took me 10 years to get my associate's degree.
Damn.
So no, right now, yes, 10 years later, balls deep in school. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But now, dude, when I joined, no school.
No school.
It was chasing girls and partying.
Yeah. Partying in Roppongi, Tokyo together.
Yeah, man. Just going to random bars in deep Tokyo.
Yeah. Where we're out there, we found ourselves there on 4th of July. And this was one of the most kind of eye-opening experiences of my life, because 4th of July to me has always been fireworks. It's always represented that. Mm-hmm. And we're in Tokyo, 4th of July, and we make our way up to the rooftop of a random building. I don't even remember how we got up to it. And somehow I had the full expectations that we were going up there and we were going to see fireworks from one of the most amazing views that I've ever seen in my life. But there were no fireworks.
Well, yeah, that's you think that July 4th is so big for us. You can't go anywhere in the country without seeing fireworks on 4th of July.
Exactly.
So you think something with that magnitude is going to be practiced all over the world.
All over the world. No.
It's not. Yeah.
And that was a very eye-opening experience too. It was like, man, 4th of July, the American independence. It never clicked for me. I never had these educational associations of like,
we're America. Everybody loves us, right?
Exactly.
Of course they're going to celebrate 4th of July.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a mindset.
Naive.
Super naive. And that was hilarious when we got up to the rooftop. We're looking around and we look at each other like, oh.
Nothing.
Man.
We were on several rooftops.
Yeah.
That weekend.
Yeah. Hunting fireworks. So now you're getting the education. For a while you did it. Why now? And what is this spark? I mean, I know you've had a lot of leadership position, a lot of stuff going on there. Talk to us a little bit about your leadership roles, how that feeds into the education pursuit now, 10 years later into your career.
So I'll start with the education piece. So there's a couple of things that factor into why I'm deep in education now. So over the years, I've seen a lot of older military members that are close to retirement that spent 20 plus years not going to school. And now they're taking 3-4 classes at a time, all while working full time. And they're busting their ass to get this degree before they retire. Mm-hmm. And it's always been a goal of mine to get a degree, but it's like, oh yeah, I'm at 4 years in, I'll wait. I'm at 8 years in, I'll wait, I got time. I'm at 10 years in, I'll wait. But then as I keep seeing these people rush, I'm like, yo, I can't do that. That cannot be me. So yeah, that's kind of what sparked it. Another thing that I guess is more of an excuse, but I spent a lot of time not going to school because I didn't know what I wanted to pursue. So because of my military background being in logistics, I have an easy route to a logistics degree. I don't have a passion in logistics.
Right.
So why would I pursue something I don't have a passion in?
Good question.
So I was a drill sergeant in San Antonio, Texas, which afforded me the opportunity to gain a associate's degree in education and training. I love to educate. Mm-hmm. I love to lead. And that degree opened a window for me to pursue a leadership degree. So that's what I'm looking at right now is a leadership degree through Trident University. And I'm super excited about it.
Yeah, man, that's dope. Okay. There's a lot here.
Yep.
And I do want to, obviously there's things that you and I talk about that plenty of stuff interests me, but I'm going to do my best to also dig into things that I hope folks would also find interesting, not just, what I know about you and connecting all this stuff, right? So you were a drill sergeant.
Yep.
Major Williford Benson Payne. So you weren't just a drill sergeant, though. You made your way up to what, like the CEO of drill sergeants? You were like...
No. So I'm gonna be super humble. My troops make fun of me because they're like, oh, Sergeant Richardson, he was the best MTI of all time. I'm like, no, stop it. So
Stop. Keep going. Stop it.
So in an environment where there's 500 MTIs, you got 200 of them that are, pushing flights and training trainees, and you got another 200 that are teaching classes and running the war exercises. And then you got another 80 that are doing like schoolhouse things. And then you've got 6. There are 6 MTI is drill sergeant, by the way. You got 6 that are running protocol or what they call it, drill and ceremonies. So every Friday, the graduation parade that happens, there are 6 MTIs that run that whole thing and make that whole thing happen. And it's a very prestigious job. And that's the level that I was able to obtain. Very, very proud of that, man. It was a lot of fun too.
Now, how does a guy like you, ruptured spleen and all, how do you go from getting kicked out of the Army before you even get a chance to step foot in a pair of boots to being the biggest host of a weekly party? I mean, this is like having a stint in Vegas. You were like Penn and Teller for a while of the U.S. Air Force. How does this happen? Yeah, I mean, 500 and you were one of 6. How in the world how do you get to that point? What is it that allowed you, afforded you? What was different about you, or how you think, or how you operated, or was it a coin toss? Drawing straws.
Yo, part of it was a coin toss, man. But I think me calling it a coin toss is just adds a little bit of humility, I guess. Because I'm not one to really toot my own horn. Mm-hmm. My troops will tell you otherwise, but man, like I want to say it's my personality. It was my passion. A lot of dedication, man. There's a lot of dedication and a lot of passion because I'm a hard worker, but I'm only gonna work hard for the stuff that I want to work hard for. Right. And that was something that I just wanted, man. I wanted to be the top. I was finally doing something that I loved. I was making a difference, and I wanted to do it at the highest level. Right.
If you were to guess, how many individuals in our military were you directly or indirectly responsible for? How long were you a leader, a drill sergeant, an MTI at whatever level that you? How many American servicemen and women?
That's a big number, man. So think about this. I did it for 4 years, and the first 2 years, give or take, every 8 weeks was a brand new set of 50 to 100 eyes that were directly relying on me and my partners to, start a career, a profession, a livelihood. So, damn, dude, do the math. So 2 years every 8 weeks, 100. And then the next 2 years, I was touching every single graduating class every week, which was about 3,000 every week. Whew. So yeah, man.
That's steep. That's a lot of lives changed. So
it's a big number.
So how many did you mess up on?
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So
keep it real.
Plenty.
Okay.
But man, I tell you what, my very first flight of trainees, me and shout out to Sergeant Bowman, a really good friend of mine. He was the first MTI that I pushed a flight with. And man, this flight of females have got to be the worst group of airmen in the Air Force right now.
Because of you. Because of
us, man. Because of us. So we got right to, as soon as we were done with our drill sergeant school, we went to our new squadron, and our boss, who was supposed to take us under his wing and help us out, he took leave. So we were kind of just out to fend for ourselves, man. Clueless, blind leading the blind. And those girls, I've ran into some of those girls in later down the road, and I think they're doing okay. I think they're alive.
That's least hopeful. That's optimistic.
Yeah. Oh man.
So hold on, the person is your first go, and the person that's supposed to show you the ropes is on leave.
Yes, he went on leave and put somebody else, like, hey, you, Sergeant so and so, you look after these guys.
Get them squared away.
And they did not at all.
All right, everybody on the line, we're gonna learn hopscotch to defend the country.
Right? Yeah.
I got you. All right. So you led thousands upon thousands of people, and you're also a father and husband.
Yep.
To put all of this into perspective, you were working your MTI days. You were working 18-hour days. Is that about right?
Yeah. So we worked a lot of 18-hour days. It was very busy, but it wasn't like 7 days straight, 18 hours. Were there weeks like that? Absolutely. But it wasn't like that for 4 years.
Right. Okay. What would you say the average day was, roughly?
In terms of hours? So it depends, right? Because I'll let viewers and listeners do their own Googling, but there was a big scandal that happened in 2011, 2012, and BMT, basic training in the Air Force, where there was roughly 30 of the 500 MTIs were doing some pretty nasty wrongdoings. And instead of taking care of those 30 MTIs, Congress decided to take a sledgehammer to our entire process. So with our manning, they went from letting us work as many hours as necessary to telling us like, hey, you cannot work more than 10 hours in a day.
Oh, wow.
And it was like, okay, great. But are you going to give us the manning for this?
Right.
So, we have these kids that get straight off the bus, right into basic training. We've got all these intricate processes that we need to have them learn. But after 10 hours, we're no longer there to watch them. So that happened about a year and a half in.
Yeah.
So the first year and a half, we were working 18 hours for at least the first 3 or 4 weeks of our flights. Then after that, we were working maybe 12 to 14 hours a day. Mm-hmm. Every 8 weeks, we're talking like 3 days off. Yeah.
Okay.
It was nasty.
So father.
By the way, that was chosen. We were not mandatory. It wasn't like these are your hours. You are going to work 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. Those were not our given hours. It was a chosen task.
Right.
Because it's what needed to get done.
Right. So you're working all of this. You're a father. You're a husband. How, as a family man, because I think you have a pretty kick-ass family.
They're all right.
They're all right. So how do you manage this? I mean, what's the dynamic? What do you work on relationally that you could say, you know what, I'm going to go bust my ass for this thing and give myself to this cause of whatever it is that does take you away from the family, but still build a strong family? What?
I was not a good family man during those years. I'm gonna be straight up.
Damn.
I was not. No. So my first son. So I have a 11-year-old son, and when we got to Texas, he was like 4 or 5, and I've seen videos on social media and just remembering my energy with him when he was younger and all the things we used to do together. And then we get to Texas, and my way of playing with him is when I get home from work, I'm laying straight down on the floor, face down, and he's just jumping all over me while I'm sleeping. Like that was our bonding time, and it was very unhealthy.
Yeah.
And then my second son was born. Oh man. So my middle son, Jammer, he was born. I went to the hospital with my wife. Jammer was born in like 15 minutes. He was in and out. Mm-hmm. And then right after he was born, it was like, all right, babe, I got to go back to work. And my son is 30 minutes old, and I got to go back to work. So yeah, I packed Chucky up. Chucky actually went to work with me. I had to do some evaluations. So we had to do this evaluation where it's a fire alarm, right? It's just a fire drill.
Yeah.
So I go to a dorm, and I tell the basic trainees, hey, exercise, as in like not real practice. Yep. I smell smoke.
Yeah.
And then they have all these procedures they have to go to get everybody out.
Right.
But for this specific one, because my middle son had been born and I had my oldest with me, I was like, hey, there's a 5-year-old in the dorm. Ignore him. I smell smoke. And just to see the stress levels on these kids just go up, like, because we give them all these crazy scenarios, and we're like, no matter what, get everybody out.
Right.
But then I tell them, hey, by the way, ignore the 5-year-old. And
right.
These kids just they're going nuts. But yeah, that was my time, man, in Texas. Like I said, I was not a good family man. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until about a year ago that I needed to shift my priorities a bit. Yeah, because they've been chasing me around, man. Yeah, they've been chasing my career and my goal, my professional aspirations. Yeah, and it's time for me to turn the dial over to them a little bit more now.
I love that shit, dude. First of all, you know how many people would, if they had the exact same path as you, would never admit that, let alone admit it and then make the shift, do something about it. Yeah, admit it and then go, okay, this needs to change. I need to be better for my family, and then actually implement that change. That's huge, you know?
Dude, one day I'm going to take this uniform off, man. And I've seen it 1,000 times. Like when people take the uniform off, nobody hits them up. Nobody's worried about them anymore. Like they're in retirement. Forget about them. Right. But my family ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that's real. I can imagine that looking back at, seeing the videos at younger and then seeing that shift, that transition of like, man, I was just his trampoline. Like that was it. You know, that was bonding, so to speak. So I want to shift a little bit here. I have episode 5 of the Entertain podcast. This is one I had 2 of my best friends. I had Anthony Francisco. I had Ramsey Hamady, musician Anthony, and attorney Ramsey. Mm-hmm. So we chat a lot about
listening to that one.
Were you?
Yeah.
Solid.
Sorry, continue.
Solid. I hope it was a good listen for a sauna session. So we talked a lot about friendship, about how to keep friendship strong from a distance, because we have built, and I was talking to you a little bit before we started the podcast today about the mastermind that we've had going for a few months and everything. That's been a huge contributor as well. But they, in my life, are relatively what I call neo friends, right? Your new friends, your newer friends. These are the ones that you find at this current chapter, so to speak, of where you are in life. Similar interests, similar things like that. And
yeah.
So it just works. You're getting with people that you want to spend time with, not like, oh, I've known them for so long and it's kind of weird, or we kind of aren't vibing really, but I want to try to make this work because of the time we have, right? The history. Yeah. So you and I, we're what I call classic friends, right? You got the neo friends, the newer ones, and then you got classic friends. Classic, like it's a throwback. Why do people wear Chuck tees when really there's no support, there's no cushion, there's no, it's a classic. I got you. Right? Yeah. So you and I, we've been friends since the mid 90s for a long time. A lot of, different life paths, a lot of different interests and everything like this, I want to get your perspective on why do you think we've been able to stay as close as we have through the history of our lives as classic friends?
So I'm obviously, right. We've both had hundreds of friends, come and go. Right.
Right.
And on top of that, I'm also a believer in, when it comes to relationships, strength over length. Mm-hmm. And, but there's always, I think it's just chemistry, man. Yeah. I really think it's chemistry, and chemistry is natural. Yeah. Like chemistry is not anything that I don't think you have. Depending on the situation, you can work on it, but a lot of chemistry is natural, and I think we have a natural chemistry.
Yeah. 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 I can rock with that. I think
not everybody has that. Everybody has that.
That's very true.
Go talk to some of your friends from the mid 90s, early 2000s and see if that, chemistry is still there.
That's real. That's very real. Yeah. So how do you determine then, right? There's folks that want to keep friendships that, whether the friendship right now is struggling with an old friend. I have people that have reached out to me, over the years that are just like, man, this friend is just like this, like this, like this. And what do I do? I just, it's kind of killing them, whatever. What do you say to people that have a struggling friendship right now that they've been friends with for 10, 20, 30 years, but it's struggling now? What do you say?
I think you as an individual need to look in the mirror and decide if this is something that you want to continue. It's something I've struggled with, man. I've actually cut off a few relationships recently. And I'm so nice, man. I'm such a people person. I'm a nice guy that I have struggled being mean and doing things like that. Yeah. But yeah, I've actually cut off a couple of relationships recently that I just realized weren't doing me any good. Yeah. There was no benefit. I feel like it was kind of just a waste of time.
Yeah. But is that just the modern day trying to come up in the world? What can you do for me? Where people say, the first question people ask when they're out and about is, what do you do? Right? What do you do to figure out, or the first thing people look at on, social media, oh, you have so many followers, you could do something for me to make me more, whatever. Is that what that is? Or is this coming from a different place that you're like, no, genuinely, what do you provide me in my life that makes sense for us to keep this alive, for me to keep this alive?
So for one specific instance that I'm kind of referring to, I was doing all the providing. Mm-hmm. So it was like, when you talk about, what do you provide to this relationship? And yeah, I was getting 0 out of this person. Yeah. But I was somehow the crutch on this relationship. And so to be more specific, without dropping names,
just name them and we'll leave their at. Can you drop their handle here? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just goofing.
We won't do that.
No,
because I do still have a lot
don't.
of love for this person.
Yeah.
But I was deployed, man.
Yeah.
I was in the Middle East, and my wife was pregnant with my third son.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that birth.
Mm-hmm.
And this person gave me a phone call, which I appreciate this person always reaching out to me, and knew exactly what I was going through, but wanted to speak about irrelevant stuff. I don't want to get specific, man.
I got you. I got what you're saying. So essentially, you just evaluated the friendship. You saw, you just did a little accounting. Okay, what have I been bringing to this? What have they been bringing to this? And then you just had a tipping point.
That was the final straw. Tipping point, yeah.
Yep, I got you. I'm actually, oddly enough, I think there's this weird thing. So with you, with Ramsey, with Ant, there's this thing. My boy Christian, same thing. For whatever reason, there's this connectivity with us where I feel like we go through similar things at similar times, whether we know it or not. And I'm exactly in this same space that you are right now with an old friend. And I'm just like, you know what? I had to measure this up recently. And Jeanette was just like, you know, what's going on? Let's talk about this, you know? So we did. And I had to keep it real. That's one of the biggest things that I'm always talking about, which again, I admire you bringing it up. I wasn't a good family man at this chapter, right?
No.
So I had to keep it real with myself. What is this person providing? You know, and what does that look like in comparison to what I'm providing? Because if I'm the one lacking, I need to be checked for that too. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I need to be held accountable for my portion of this stuff. So looking at this stuff, same thing. So I'm with you there. So folks that are going through this right now with an old friend, the one thing that I would say is, well, first of all, I love that you said strength over length.
Yep.
Which is big.
Yep.
The one thing that I would say is the pain that you might feel in addressing something in an honest way, in the real way, and putting everything on the table, the reality, a real assessment, that can still be present when you make the right decision. You might do the right thing and it might hurt emotionally a lot. You might know, damn, I got to cut this person off. And you might know that clearly, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to suck. That doesn't mean that it's not going to be painful. That's not going to mean you're not going to feel that longing of some level, right? I mean, we're humans. Yeah. We have a connection. We have a history. We have all these things that we would miss. So that would be my advice to folks going through a similar struggle with friendships or relationships, present day, anything like that.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like the 80-20 rule, right? So like if your relationship is 80% wasting time and 20% of that relationship you're gaining something, ultimately it's a waste of time. So when you decide to cut off that relationship, of course you're going to miss that 20%.
Yeah.
But you're gaining that 80%. That's what you need to remember.
That's a fact. So you and I have very different interests in a lot of different ways, right? The first things that come to mind when we first hopped on here, TVs.
Yeah.
You have a fascination with televisions. No, but realistically, sneakers for you, right? You love kicks.
Facts.
Been a sneakerhead as far back as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
I have been, as long as I can remember, pretty much the exact opposite, which is odd because professionally I model.
Right.
You know, and
right. Yeah.
So seemingly I would be very interested in clothing and shoes and attire, which I'm trying to be better at developing, or at least paying attention to. If it's not an interest, a passion, I want to at least be better at learning along the way instead of just ignoring.
Let me ask you.
Yes.
Would you say, as a model, that you are into fashion?
Absolutely not.
No? Okay. So what is it about modeling that you are interested in? Like, why do you enjoy that?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a really good question and relevant.
Because
right
model,
now.
You think about other than being pretty,
mm-hmm.
It's fashion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's sneakers, kind of like what is it that you enjoy?
That's okay. So this is a good time to make a distinction. So when I first started modeling, somebody came up to me, hey, and they themselves, she was a model. This was at the gym, and just kind of an interaction where she was trying to be encouraging, like, hey, I've seen you doing these workouts, you being here, time to time, have you thought about modeling? And in my head, I was like runways, like Tyra Banks, those fashion shows. And I was like, hell no. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
And she's like, no. There's like fitness modeling. There's sports modeling. Have you thought about that? And it never clicked for me until that moment when I go, every single advertisement that I've ever seen, all the sports that you and I played, Chuck, growing up, every time we went to, whether it was a Big Five or Walmart or Sports Authority, anywhere, there's always big photos of action and movement and all that. That's what it was. Yeah. And I realized like all of these different things that I've done over my whole life, where I've been a jack of all trades and a master of none. It all came together. Wow, this is what it was for. This is what it's been cultivating this whole time. And here's what it is. It's the perfect out. So what I love about modeling, particularly how I approach modeling, is that I get a chance to not only perform a lot of different performative things that keep my interest, because I've never really been this is the one thing that I do and that's just it. That's my passion. That's what I focus on 100%. I've always juggled a ton of different things. Yep. So it feeds that desire for me. It's also a beautiful thing for me to be able to take somebody. I'm not an artist in the sense of sculpting. Chuck, you remember me in pottery in high school. All right. So I'm not a sculptor. I'm not a painter, drawing. I've never been good at, or even remotely close to good at any of those. And I've also never given the time to them that it would take for me to get good. Modeling / acting, this is my art. This is where I get to take somebody else's or my own ideas, and I get to make the creation that when somebody else looks at the thing, they feel what we were hoping for them to feel. So you have a brand, you have these products that you really believe are going to help people, but you are terrible at getting the message across to the people at why or how these will help. That's where I come in. I get to come in and figure out what is it that you're trying to capture here. And then I get to throw my kind of spin, my perspective on it, and work with production to where I say, I see what you guys are talking about, but I think it might be a little bit better this way. We get to play with it, create it, capture it, and then it just turns out to be some shit that we love. A lot of times it's not, though. Working up to where I'm at now, I've been at this for over 7 years. Yeah. A lot of times it's terrible. I have so much stuff that is just like, what were you thinking?
For sure. Yeah. I'm glad you went that deep into it, because I don't think anybody ever thinks of modeling as anything like that. I like that you said it helps you juggle all of that, because it's a lot of your interest kind of into one that involve one. I like that. Yeah.
So think about when you're talking earlier about figuring out what to study in college, right? To get your degrees and everything.
Yep.
A while you said, I just didn't really know what to do. So for me, my whole life, I've been pretty good at, if I have any level of interest at something, I'm going to try it. Whatever it is, the most random of things, it doesn't matter. I've never had that fear of criticism that would stop me from trying to do a new thing. Right. I'll go out and wear the most crazy shit. Like, doesn't matter. I'll go out and say and act and do whatever, pranks, whatever, just complete foolery. So it's never been a setback or a kind of a holding mechanism for me to go, oh man, I would like to try that, but I'm not going to. I've always tried all kinds of different shit. This is the thing where it came together for me, where I go, wow, this is where it finally, all those years in college when I was studying this shit that I was like, why am I even in here? all those years in this sport and that sport, it all started to come together that I can go, okay, I can use what I learned through college to actually pick this world apart, to be more effective at it, and to get more efficient at getting farther along and understanding the processes. And to be real with you, my whole modeling career, one of the key foundations for me was, I'm going to do this and I'm going to pay attention to every single photographer, the settings that they shoot and the angles and the lighting and all that stuff. I've had one of the highest paying educations of photography and anything that's creating advertisements of anybody, because I've been not just a fly on the wall, I've been the fly in the center of the room that
everybody, haven't paid for none of it.
I haven't paid for it, gotten paid to do it.
I like that a lot.
So that's where, there's a lot that I've learned that hopefully, will continue to serve people as things go.
That's good, man. That's I think that you found a learning opportunity, which people don't often go looking for.
True.
So I like that. That's very it's very grown up of you.
Oh,
so
man.
I'll be honest. I asked you about your modeling gig, trying to find a tie to sneakers. I didn't find one.
I'm not surprised, man. I'm literally, of anybody that I've ever met through modeling or acting, I'm one of, if not the bottom of the barrel for who's interested in clothing, sneakers, anything like that. I very much don't think any of that matters, but it also matters very much. It just depends on what you use it for, how you use it. And I actually love, I love, and I've always loved your vision around sneakers. And even, I think it was St. Louis, where I rode with you for a little sneaker swap, a little pickup some hookup that was like straight up drug dealing out the trunk. It was like, oh man, you got the 9s. All right, bet. Oh, these are mint. Oh, these are freshies. And I don't even know. I don't know Jordans. I don't know, I don't know any of this. You could literally put the most valuable sneaker in front of me next to like a New Balance, like old beat up, and I would genuinely be like, they're probably like $47 difference.
I've done so many of those meetups. I don't remember that, but I know that
that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, rule number 1 is don't go alone, because you never know. I mean, there's so many stories on social media. You see people getting robbed and put at gunpoint and all those other different things. So
yeah,
you happen to be there.
Thanks for putting my life in danger for your come up.
Yo, I've traveled across the country to sell shoes before.
That is wild, man. That's like one of these things. There's like you're into powerlifting, which I've never ever been close into powerlifting. You're into sports, watching sports. I used to be, like, as a kid, loved watching sports, and then when I stopped competing, that's where I kind of lost interest, and then realized, there's all these things that you're interested in that I'm not, but we still bond over. It's wild. I mean, I remember, what was it, UFC? I think it was the UFC with Brock Lesnar we watched together out in Japan. I think it was in Misawa we watched that together.
We did watch a UFC in Misawa. I don't remember which one, but
it was when Brock Lesnar was like, I'm going to go home and drink Coors Light because Bud Light don't want to pay me nothing.
I'm going to sleep with my wife.
I'm going to go lay on my wife.
Yeah. I was like, whoa.
We were losing it.
That was the character that UFC needed, though. That was a good time.
Yeah, it was. All right. So one thing that you want to leave for listeners that we haven't brought up, haven't covered, we could spend a couple of minutes on right now as we wind down. What is something that you're feeling you really want to share, to touch on, that you're like, this has kind of been on my mind lately, and this is a place I just want to dump it right here on the Entertain Podcast?
People need to take care of themselves. We're often judged by how we are helping others and what we're providing for others. So especially in the military, it's like, take care of your airmen, take care of your airmen, take care of your airmen. Who's taking care of me? And it's got to be you, because Anthony, you got a lot of support. Everyone loves you. I don't know that I know anyone with more charisma, but trust me, nobody loves Anthony Thomas more than Anthony Thomas. So like, people just take care of yourself, whether it's financial, take care of your body, or it's exercise, you need therapy. You got to look in the mirror and take care of number 1.
Mm-hmm. Damn, I love that. Take care
I've been
of yourself.
big on that lately, man. I've been really big on that lately.
Did you listen
what's that?
I said you listened to episode 10?
I have not. I think I'm like two behind.
That's actually good. That's good. Listen to episode 10. It's like 15 minutes, I think, and it is right up the alley, exactly what you're talking about right here.
Really?
100%. Okay. 100%.
Yeah.
Episode 10, it's called Master Dating.
Wordplay. I like it.
So take care of yourself. So this is actually something, I'm glad you brought that up, because this is something that is very challenging for me, and it's new for me, despite the fact that I do a lot of things for my own, like prioritizing my own pursuits. There's a difference in prioritizing what my pursuit is and taking care of myself. There's a difference. And that's something that I've been learning the hard way as of lately. I've been the most busy with work and all these things that I've ever been in my whole life. I've been the most busy lately. And I realized there's a lot of things that I'm sacrificing of my own health, whether that's relational health, because I'm not spending as much time or enough time, the amount of time that would satisfy me with my loved ones, right? Or it's that, you know, I'm just diving in, you know, losing sleep because I'm working on this or working on that, working on this. And the big picture, it's all working towards that and it's all benefiting that. And that's terrific. But it's something that has been a tough challenge for me because a lot of the things that I do are to benefit other people and definitely benefit myself. I think it's not an altruistic thing of what I'm doing. It's very much to please me because it pleases me to please other people. Right? Yeah. So there's a challenge here. And the fact that you bring this up that's literally the challenge that I'm going through very heavily right now is to take care of myself because I'm not doing the greatest job of taking care of myself. And the reality is nobody is going to save me.
You are going to save you.
I'm the only one. Hopefully I don't need to save me. Hopefully I don't get so deep into some shit that I need saving, but nobody's going to save me. And even if they do, maybe they save me for a couple weeks, couple months, but you're the only person that's with you for your whole life. That's it. Even if you have a twin, that's the closest person to you, you are the only person that is guaranteed to be with you forever. Taking care of yourself is a big factor. How important was that during your MTI as a drill sergeant stuff?
Taking care of me?
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I did not take care of me at all. Holy cow, like the way I'm surprised my heart didn't explode, man. Like, yeah, we had to be at work at 4 a.m. and I would wake up, drink 2 cups of coffee. And then I never knew if I was going to have to do PT or not, if I was going to have to work out with the trainees. So I would pop a scoop and a half of pre-workout, then go to work and drink 2 more cups of coffee. And then, you know, like, and that was every day for 2 years straight, man.
That's wild. But there's chapters. So that's what I think too, is there are phases, right? Our lives are like, I know Jay Shetty had a good podcast about seasons and living our lives in seasons where, it's like a summer, that's your summer or your spring season where everything you could dive in, you can go super hard. But there's also winter seasons that we have to take care of and just kind of cuddle up and chill and just, you know, be more observant or whatever that case may be. So there's sometimes you can really step on the gas and then other times. So it pays to be mindful of that and pay attention and take accountability for wherever you might be right now in your seasons and take care of yourself. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. I haven't watched that podcast, but it does feel like winter for me right now.
Yeah. You chilling?
Yeah.
Chill mode?
Chilling. Getting ready. It's a busy chill, but I'm chilling.
That's dope. That's good. All right, dog. Master Sergeant Richardson.
Hi. That's me.
Hi. Dog, give the family my love. I love that we
man.
I love that we had you on here for an episode. And I mean, who's to say that this needs to be a one-off? We can have many more. There's loads to talk about.
Yo, super honored, man. Anthony, one of my favorite people in the world. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yes. All right, that's it for now. Count your appreciations. Claim your appreciations for the day. Much love. Until next time. Peace.